Alright, here we go. Welcome back to Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic Less Known Classics. This is episode number 3129, Doubleshot number 3023. Now, basically, I've got 4 Comic Corners to do, and this one I'll do Marvel, next one I'll do DC, and come back to Marvel, and then one more DC I have ready to go, and that'll be it for Comic Corners for today. Each one of the anime will come with 1 Comic Corner today, hopefully. First one we have is Avengers by MacKay, Volume 3, Blood Hunt, which contains issues 12 to 16 of Avengers Volume 9. The very first 2 issues here are tie-ins to the Fall of X stuff, where Tony Stark informs what the heck is going on, and of course Avengers get involved with the whole fighting a racist stuff, and it turns out in these issues it's revealed that 3D Man, a member of the Avengers, is working with a racist during the storyline. And then it's doing the first part. The next part, he just leaves that to basically thinks that, yeah, he's basically was used for this system. So he proceeds to quit them, and basically, the Avengers take out a lot of Stark Sentinels. And then start with issue 14. We begin the next 3 issues of this book, where it's tie-in to Blood Hunt. And this book feels like it's a lot more exciting than the main event. Which the main event feels like we're missing a lot of story in there. It's like not much at all. That's the biggest problem with the main miniseries. It felt as though like all the exciting stuff basically has happened in tie-ins. Which in my opinion is not exactly a good idea. I'm having some good tie-ins, yes. But then the main event, where like a lot of it feels like nothing much happens in the main story, that was the biggest problem with Blood Hunt I had, was that Blood Hunt felt like it was lacking excitement. So, basically, when the Avengers team, where is the main Avengers team printing this book? Well, they're off doing another thing in the main Avengers book, in the main tie-in, the main series, so Captain America is tasked by Carol Danvers, several Teen Avengers, to take on vampires. And who answers the call? Hercules, Quicksilver, Kate Bishop, and Hazmat. Of all these people, basically, Hercules has got a long history with the Avengers, starts back far back as 60s, along with Quicksilver. Kate Bishop is only part of the West Coast Avengers, and Hazmat was previously part of the Avengers Academy stuff. By the way, Francisco Mortado does issue story 13, last reissued by C.F. Phillip. So it's like, yeah, the Avengers basically take part fighting the organization trying to kill the X-Men. And it's dealt with in this excellent 2-parter. Yes. So, by the way, who's the main villain of the tie-in for Avengers? First we see Hercules, we see Kate, then Quicksilver, and Hazmat. But who are they fighting? Well, we have to take these vampires, and of course we see a flying car. Yes, we have Cap having a flying car to figure out who is behind this contingent of vampires. And after fighting through them, we find out who was responsible. Well, we have this helicarrier, not a shield one, and it's being ran by Baron Blood. Now those are thinking, which one? There have been several. John Falsworth. He is the uncle of Jacqueline Falsworth Cotton. Yeah, he's an old Invaders villain. And I believe this was the first one. I'm actually quite surprised Jim MacKay brought this guy back. Because last time I've seen prior to this time was issue of Marvel. Well, the book by Alex Ross and Kara Busiek. You could say that was one of the last times he appeared. Yes. But he also appeared in Ravencroft and Ruins of Ravencroft. Yeah, he's appeared very sporadically over the years. By the way, after this 3-parter, he's never seen again. Is he dead? No, he just defeated. But love the stuff here. This book is just really good. This also mentioned Avengers Academy. It's an excellent story arc. I do recommend it. The book is awesome. Oh, and the very next issue basically is part of the whole Rise of the Ashes stuff. Yeah, it's just a brand initiative, and I think for Avengers, it only lasts for like a single issue. Yeah, it's just for one issue. But yeah, love this tie-in. Now, do these characters stay with the group afterwards? Like, Hercules, this is probably by far the first acting he's done in some time. Well, for Hercules, prior to this time, the last time he was seen was in the annual for Guardians of the Galaxy from Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing run. Yeah, that was the last time he was seen. After this, of course, about to have Immortal Thor afterwards. And then he appeared in Avengers Assemble. His most recent appearance was in Miles Morales' Spider-Man. Yeah, so basically, in a way, afterwards is like, yeah, let's basically have where Hercules becomes part of the Avengers response team. But you think, okay, what about Hazmat? I think the last time Hazmat appeared prior to this was in the pages of, I think it was Captain Marvel. I think that was the last time officially appeared in comics prior to this book. Yeah, it was actually in Captain Marvel. It was in the final issue of the Kelly Thompson Captain Marvel book, which was released in 2023, and this issue was released, I think, like last year. So, yeah, first time in a year. After this, she is back with Avengers Academy. Yeah, very open Avengers Academy. For this one was closed, and yet it's back now. So basically, that's where she is nowadays. Kate Bishop, aka Hawkeye. Prior to this book, let's see. I mean, it was nice she became part of the main Avengers book. Oh, yes, definitely. I do agree with that. Prior to this, she was last appeared in publication-wise, she took part in Extreme Venomverse. But I would say the last proper was in that book in Final Issue Captain Marvel. After this, she was only featured in a one-shot for Venom War, and that's been it for her. Yeah, she hasn't done much. Quicksilver. I know he did recently have a team mini-series with his sister. Yep. Which the whole purpose of that was to celebrate 60 years of Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. Yeah, that was really the whole point of that. So after this time, she well, excuse me, he decided to appear in the opening 4 issues of the new Scarlet Witch book. Mm-hmm. And issue 4 was his most recent appearance he made in comics. So that's kind of what he did after this, was basically appear in Christmas Scarlet Witch. Cap himself, well, he of course still have his solo book, but when briefly got canceled, was brought back and it's coming back really soon. Well, he also appeared in the third volume of Avengers Symbol, and now he's in digital stuff. Bearing Blood in their hand, this is the most recent experience for him. But this book is, like I said, fantastic. Give this book a 10 out of 10. Next up, basically, we have is the opening trade for Champions by Ewing. Champions Volume 1, Outlawed. Yes, a storyline that any comic reader can basically point as though this is one of Marvel's worst ideas in the last few years. This book collects the first 5 issues of Champions Volume 4 along with the short story incoming one-shot. Now, the opening premise of this whole storyline is very similar, or excuse me, the very same exact thing how Robin War started. We'll get to that. So we start off with the incoming one-shot, where we have members of the Champions and Avengers just tested for Congress, and then of course basically it's like they want to pass this law just because teenage superheroes decide to stand up for themselves. First, they asked about his helmet. Here's the question. Let me sure I get this. Every day, kids out there are dying because they can't get enough to eat. Dying as soldiers in wars. They don't start dying from guns. Dying from drugs in our communities. From poisons that corporations sell us. For depression. And you're fine with all that? But you have a problem with us standing up for ourselves, standing up for each other. You have a problem with us fighting back. And if Miss Marvel were here, she would give you she would never buy this fake concern thing you're trying to pull off. Yes, and it's the Subcommittee of Superhuman and Public Safety Legislation hearing discussion of the Underage Superhero Welfare Act. Yes, so the Champions fight a dragon, and they're evacuating people, and of course they're fighting the dragon, obviously. And yeah, and they fight it for quite a while. There is some damage, yes. And of course, they're being questioned, the one causing destruction. And Bomb's like, that's not fair. It is. She's right. That's the question. You're the same. Come on. And of course, they said to pass this stupid act, and you have justice basically stand by his side. You have everybody watching this because, of course, they established the organization Children Renaissance Disruption Law Enforcement Organization Cradle, which this whole organization is a bunch of bullcrap. It's like, let's create an organization where initials basically is what we basically treat teenage superheroes like they're freaking babies. And here's the thing, none of the superheroes are for this. Now here's the thing, the whole thing with this law is like, underage superheroes, they have to have mentor. Miles technically has one. His name is Spider-Man. Kamala Khan, she has a mentor, kind of. Carol Danvers. Braun, of course, it's the Hulk. But as for Nova, Richard Rider. So a lot of this book is basically pointing figures And of course, basically, Camilla is not happy about the fact, like, so she put, good morning, so basically she has a lot of force, says, they say this law is about safety. No one seems to care about our safety when adults are doing harmful things all over the world, hurting communities. Are some people might think of this stuff as basically woke content. Champion stand for themselves, and Miles goes out, and of course, a lot of this is basically them hanging out in their own headquarters and they're being attacked by members of Cradle. And of course, Sterling, who's a member of them, who's in the main Miles book, she's dating Miles, despite the fact Miles was dating Bombshell. Of course, they ignore that. So they attack, and of course, Justice basically is with them, which of course, superheroes are not happy with that at all. And throughout this book, some people are arrested, are basically put in re-education programs because they dare be teenage superheroes. Yeah. And you read this, you're like, what the heck is this? So yeah, and a lot of this book is simply put the heroes fighting against Cradle because they, along with the reader, see that it's a bunch of bullcrap. That's basically what the organization is comprised of. Though yes, some of those people like Dum Dum Dugan and Justice. And for some reason, Speedball, who is smiling. Which I'm like, dude, you were a teenage superhero and yet you're basically for this nonsense? And of course, basically have, I think it's like Sterling has had enough. So yeah, start a frickin' riot. Of course, they can't. And, well, then of course they continue fighting back. After some investigating with this bullcrap laws, as attend champion to request peaceful surrender. How'd you find us? Hey, this is private property. Your parents' property. Get inside or we'll charge you with aiding and abetting. And of course they fight until Cyclops shows up. Yes, Cyclops. Who takes them away because, well, they're greater protection of the Krakoa. So, they proceed to... they don't go to the Krakoa, they basically hide on one of their ships, and they all get teleported away. Which I'm like, wow, that's one of the smart intentions of Ewing basically doing this book. Having Cyclops show the book. And kind of protection, of course, yeah, with this re-education program. And then, of course, you find out who the real cause of this bullcrap is. And, of course, try to double fund the Cradle. And just, he's like, no. Oh, yeah, and they're just hanging out on the pirate ship with the Marauders. And then they're attacked by frickin' Atuma! Yes, Atuma! But looking up, basically, he's like, hey, breakfast left, and of course, basically, like, this whole re-education program, it's like, then they have a flashback to, okay, I'm not sure why in the world the artist decided to change this, because this picture here, this actually is based upon a real-life incident that happened in Alabama back, I think it was 50s, late 50s, I think it was. You have 5 teenage black guys at this restaurant that has a bar, and they sit in a section that, according to the law of the city, they can't sit there. And they're told to move. They're basically like, nope, we like to order food. And then, of course, they're dragged outside and beating the crap up. Basically, they're taken outside and beaten. And for some reason, this artist recreated this particular famous moment and placed it with 4 black women. Even though in the original real-life incident, it was 5 black guys. Which they actually recreated for the movie The Butler. Yes, they recreated the actual incident. Which is when it sparked the whole civil rights movement. Why in the world they would do this for, I have no idea. So, Bond shows them that be absent out of the book. And of course, they get basically their emitters shut off. And of course, basically that, well, they break out, of course. And of course, basically they leak the footage. So basically, it turns out the person when leaking information of where they were was Viv Viz, because she was very emotional about it, and of course she was being manipulated to do it, so they forgave her. So, and of course she basically goes public with the Cradle bullcrap, basically, where like, this is the vision here to apologize for the events of the Coles disaster. I'll show you the truth. This is what Cradle has been really doing. Funded by the Raxon Corporation. Like, they never wanted to keep us safe. They want to use your fears against you, against us. We're done hiding, Senator Patrick. The world has seen what's been going on your watch. The ball's in your court. End transmission. Yeah, and then of course they have people stand outside and like, repeal the law because the law is bullcrap. It's to keep us, your people, safe. Being locked up isn't safety. The champions have been here for us. Like, repeal the law, like, yeah. And then of course his guard is taken out by members of Raxa. It's like, you'll do no such thing with Raxa's mission. It's like, how dare you? The footage for the whole world is like, yeah, you think security costs nothing? Rationing's business. They're telling the truth, half anyways. So the champions show up, says, and basically it's like, what? We are bad for business. We have business of sucking life of the planet and its people. A lot of this, some might think the writing here is very preachy, and kind of is. It's like, yeah, the proof. You didn't hear that. I don't hear you deny it. Like, the more as generation showmakers. Raxon and Trouble Senator, they saw this mutual beneficial arrangement, gave you public safety votes you wanted so badly, take some kids who were thorn on their side. And of course, like, we have breach. See, like clockwork. They're coming for us. Honestly, Senator, you might be coming for you too. Yeah, your assistant here isn't looking too good. And of course, basically, they're about to be arrested. It's like, you've lost, Raxon. No one is here to get hurt. You can stand down. She's right, enough of this. I said enough. Fine. Yeah. And then we'll lead next arc, but basically it's all about going to cover Raxon. That's simply put exactly what the next arc is. Okay, so I kind of get why this book got axed. Why book only lasted for a short period of time. The reason is because I'm sure the readers were getting tired. Like, they probably thought a lot of the stuff thrown into this book should not have been here. There's so much preachy stuff. Because some people might see this book as woke. Because all the preachy, woke crap they throw in here. I don't know if this was Ewing doing this, or this is basically her editor telling her to do this. But one thing positive I can say about this book is the artwork is really good. And also the fact this only lasts just for a few short months. Now, in the case of Miss Marvel, her book got canceled, but she had a few issues and just moved on. Miles had a few issues, moved on. This had a whole story dedicated to it. And then we have Killer App, which doesn't involve shutting down Raxon, but involves exposing them. Because Raxon tends to be written in a lot of Marvel comics as Marvel's big bad corporation. They're probably depicted as the most evil corporation in Marvel comic history. And they're probably by far, if you think of any evil corporation in Marvel comics, they're probably the most consistent one. Oh yeah, definitely. Those Raxon Energy Corporation, Raxon Oil. Yeah, they're can't come out in Captain America, but these guys have been active for years. And apparently Raxon is named after Exxon. Yeah. Yeah. And they've been active, like, at the start they weren't active a lot, pretty much. They were active like some stuff early on, like Captain America, Spider-Man, here and there. Mostly a lot of Spider-Man Iron books. I would say they're probably got more active in the last decade than they have recently. And they're kind of in the way the main background villains of this run for champions. Oh yeah, definitely. And you read this, you're like, no wonder the book got canceled. Oh yeah, definitely. You can definitely see why the book got canceled, because it probably wasn't popular with a lot of people. Like, the first line is fantastic. Like, the first 18 issues are amazing. And then we have the relaunch. It wasn't too bad, the relaunch. But this volume, oh boy. This volume for Champions. This event was not popular, people. Not at all. It was probably by far the most despised event in Mark Hamilla's recent memory. Like, what's more despised than this one? Honestly, I have no idea. Yeah. Now, this sounds very familiar, okay? So, the premise of this is very simple. So, we have this collateral damage, and teenage superheroes are blamed for it. But at least, basically, I at least got praise Ewing for doing this. At least they're standing up for themselves, compared to the Robin War, which a lot of the time they try to, but they're fighting police officers. No evil organization stood up because of stupid law, which by the time the event wrapped up, the law was repealed. This whole organization credo is by far so freaking dumb. Yeah. Now, the whole thing of the re-education centers, in the case of Ms. Marvel, they have done it before with the whole thing that has happened in Civil War 1 as well. But that was because of the really weird premise with that one. But yeah, if this app gets their hands in the last trade, I'd be happy to review it so I can get this book done. But that's pretty much it for that one. So that's pretty much a particular review. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. So next up, basically have is One Piece. Go with both episodes. Basically, we do 3 straight videos. New episode, new chapter, new episode. And then after that, I'm going to work on the 2 other anime premiering today, which is 100 Girlfriends Black Sis. Okay? Thanks you. Bye.